A lot of people, and myself included, were wondering what happened with Jalin Hyatt last year. I thought he had a pretty solid rookie year, and then his snap count was cut in half. His production was nowhere to be found, and it always felt like there was something bigger going on besides Jalin Hyatt not having enough talent to produce for the Giants. Well, we've got answers to those questions, as it sounds like Brian Daboll and the Giants coaching staff were butting heads with Jalin Hyatt last year. We'll break that story down coming up in a second, but first make sure you are subscribed to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. We put out free videos, multiple videos out every single day on the latest Giants news and rumors. And as we come to the end of the month here in May, we're trying to beat the Dallas Cowboys report, and subscribers picked up this month. So if you love the Giants, you want free content every single day, but most importantly, you hate the Cowboys, hit that sub button right now. Shout out to Connor Hughes of SNY. He did a mailbag kind of article on the SNY site, and he was asked about Jalin Hyatt and what happened last year, and I thought he put a lot of color to the picture that we've all been searching for when it comes to what really happened. Connor Hughes saying this: there's no reason there should be 2 or 3 deep passes dialed up a game to take advantage of it when asked about can Jalin Hyatt reemerge as a deep threat with Russell Wilson. Saying a lot of this falls on Hyatt, though. He mentally checked out at points last season after clashing with the coaching staff and upper management. There was no reason he should have been as uninvolved as he was at points last season. He's a player with a skill set the Giants should be able to use. Some players simply can't get out of the doghouse. That was the problem last year. If Hyatt shows up with a recommitment to the playbook, practice, and games, and improves his route running, then yes, he should be more productive with Russell Wilson than he was with Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, and Tommy DeVito. The former and latter are equal parts here. It was always obvious that something happened. We knew that Jalin Hyatt and trade rumors started to spark up early on in the season last year, and you saw Connor Hughes say it. He essentially clashed not only with the coaching staff, upper management as well, and he couldn't ever get out of the Brian Daboll doghouse. And that seems like a spot you don't want to be as a second-year player that's trying to reach new levels of your career. I do want to make this clear. Jalin Hyatt is just as much to blame as is the Giants coaching staff and upper management as to why he was unable to essentially play last year. Remember when Jordan Hahn said this of ESPN and we did a video on it? There was a moment late in the summer, this was last year, when it appeared this might go sideways, talking about Jalin Hyatt and the Giants. Hyatt, unhappy with the situation, said during a practice that if the Giants weren't going to use him, that they should trade him. So Jalin Hyatt essentially at practice requested a trade. And look at this article here saying Jalin Hyatt was walking briskly out of the locker room and down the hallway in the bowels of MetLife Stadium. He was in street clothes, head down, blinders on, unable to hear a greeting from a reporter. Hyatt still had on his eye black as he was reliving the disappointing 28-6 loss to the Minnesota Vikings in the New York Giants season opener. He was out of the locker room and stadium quickly without a shower after logging just 15 total snaps and just 4 through the first 3 quarters of the Week 1 contest. The second-year receiver then played just 11 snaps in the Week 2 loss to the Washington Commanders. Jordan Hahn of ESPN wrote that last year on September 20th. So we now understand somewhat what happened. Jalin Hyatt didn't really make the most of his opportunities, and there weren't more opportunities because there was a beef, a clashing, a fight between Daboll and or the upper management. Look, I said it earlier, and I'm just going to say it again. Jalin Hyatt is just as much to blame for his lack of usage and production as is the coaching staff. But I also want to put blame on the Giants coaching staff because this is a guy in his rookie year playing with Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor put up a decent stat line for a 3rd-round pick. Did he exceed expectations? No. Did he fall short? I'm not going to say that either. But there were moments where it was like, okay, maybe this guy could produce 40 grabs, almost 400 yards, or 23 grabs on 40 targets, almost 400 yards and 16.2 yards per catch. The Giants were in search and in looking for another deep threat, explosive play wide receiver last year. And then his receptions cut from 23 to 8. His targets cut in half. And from 373 yards to just 62 yards. He's not that bad of a football player. And he just wasn't given the same amount of opportunities. 557 snaps his rookie year, down to 344 his second year. And that was with a guy like Malik Nabers missing a couple of games and having some other injuries throughout the wide receiver room. Look, do I think Jalin Hyatt's ever going to live up to the hype of being the Blitnikoff winner and the guy that did what he did against Alabama in the SEC back in 2023? No, I don't know about that. But I saw 3 times in his rookie year he was able to be a guy that the Giants could turn to when explosive plays were needed. We all remember what happened in week 2 of 2023 versus Arizona, where the Giants put together a 20-point comeback, and he had those 2 deep catches, 2 catches for 88 yards. Then he had 2 more catches for 75 yards against the Washington Commanders. And then with Tommy DeVito against the New England Patriots, he had 4 grabs for 109 yards. There's no way that you can tell me that that guy right there deserved 8 catches in his second year in the National Football League. The Giants need to do a better job of developing him, giving him a chance to play. And Jalin Hyatt needs to do a better job of letting the Giants do that and having the Giants want to do that. Know the playbook. Get stronger. Be better on your routes. Be where you're supposed to be on your routes as well. And lose the ego, my man. Like, everyone's got to be better, and I'm hoping they all can be better. Because if Jalin Hyatt is good, that means the Giants are going to be better and better quicker. And that is all we want to see. We would love to see Jalin Hyatt break out in year 3. And to be honest with you, if he doesn't do it now, I don't know when exactly he is going to do it with the Giants. You went out and you made a major move to go and get Russell Wilson, a quarterback that matches well with Jalin Hyatt. And where the wide receiver room stacks up right now for the Giants, there's an opportunity for a 4th wide receiver to make some noise. You have little Jordan Humphrey on this depth chart as well. Jalin Hyatt can't beat him out. That's a problem. If he can't beat out Zach Pascal, who did not catch a pass last year, that is a problem. If he can't beat out Bryce Ford-Wheaton, that is a problem. If he can't beat out Amir Smith-Marset, who is a great returner, that is a problem. There is a path, there is a spot, and there is an opportunity for Jalin Hyatt in year 3 to emerge as a playmaker in this offense that can create an explosive chunk play a game. Good to see that on the first day or second day of OTAs, Jalin Hyatt was getting some first-team reps because Malik Nabers right now is not practicing because of a toe injury, and the Giants are being smart. From what I've been told, it's nothing to worry about with the toe injury. They're just taking it slow, and to be honest with you, I'm okay with that. If there's 2 players I'm okay with the Giants putting in bubble wrap until the season starts, it's Andrew Thomas and it's Malik Nabers, and I'm also cool with Dexter Lawrence going in bubble wrap and not playing until week 1. Good to see Hyatt get some early work, though, in the spring, heading into the summer. This is more on Hyatt than Brian Daboll. I'm sure Daboll has more than enough reason to do the things that he did when it came to not prioritizing the development of Jalin Hyatt and leaning more on Darius Slayton, even when the Giants' season was essentially good as gone. Hyatt has to realize it's now or never for him with the New York Giants, and I think he does. I think he's a bright guy. I think he knows what is in front of him. It's an opportunity to join this team as the 4th receiver and make plays when your number is called. And it's a much better situation for Jalin Hyatt this year. It's hard to be a deep threat when Daniel Jones is your quarterback. We know that. But when you get paired with Russell Wilson, who by every metric, every statistic, every analytic was the best deep thrower in the National Football League last year, if you can't figure it out with him, a quarterback during his introductory press conference called you out by name and said you are a young player that has untapped potential. If you can't work with that guy, you might just not be working for the New York Giants for that much longer. If you want Jalin Hyatt to break out this season, hit that thumbs up icon. I don't just want it. I kind of need it, man, and we need it. This is an offense that's been the Sahara Desert when it comes to explosive plays. And Jalin Hyatt is a guy that could do that. One Jalin Hyatt catch can change a game. Hopefully it works this year. Hit that thumbs up icon and make sure you're hooked up with our Jackson Dart Giants jerseys, the real, official Jackson Dart jerseys, jetsports.com/dart. Get jersey today so when you have it ordered, it'll show up and it'll be ready to roll when he gets put in to play some football this year. I think there's a lot of chances and a lot of maybe Final calls. Final call for some of these wide receivers on the New York Giants team. Wan'Dale Robinson, entering year 4 as a slot receiver, is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Maybe the Giants work out a contract extension with him prior to the year beginning, but if he doesn't improve from what we saw last year, which, again, it's hard to produce as a receiver with Daniel Jones, but 93 grabs for less than 700 yards is just not going to cut it in the National Football League. Yes, he had 3 touchdowns, but I just need to see more from him. He's a limited player due to his size and his small catch radius. But this is a guy that was at Kentucky that was a deep ball receiver. He wasn't just an option route guy from 5 yards and shorter. I want to see him get back to pushing the ball down the field. I want to see him continue to be throwing the ball in spots where he can be explosive. And we'll see, whether Robinson does or does not do things we want or want him to do this, you don't want him to do. Wide receiver is a big need going forward. Yes, you have Malik Nabers, but that's really it. I know you signed Darius Slayton to a 3-year deal. It's really a 2-year deal, and Giants could essentially move on from him after this year if they want. You got to go and find a way to continue to add to this room. Not saying necessarily before this year, but I don't want the Giants to think, oh, we got Nabers, we're good. No, get somebody else that could bend the defense and could lead to Malik Nabers getting more one-on-one opportunities. You put Darius Slayton outside here, Jalin Hyatt here. They're both pushing verticals. Safeties have to drop. Nabers should be able to cook in that slot a little bit more. We'll see. It just needs more weapons. That's what this offense needs. You scored 16 points last year per game. One of the worst, if not the worst, in the National Football League. And he didn't have really any new offensive starters outside of Cam Scatterboo, who may not even start early on in his NFL career. I'm also looking for Theo Johnson, the Penn State tight end, to take a step this year. Had injuries that cut his season short. Looks like he's doing good in the offseason. I know he had a drop at day 2 of OTAs. Don't love that. Big, fast, strong, physical. That's what I want in tight end. A guy that's peaking. I don't think he is even close to the peak of who he can be. And I think a guy that can push the seam vertically, playing with Russell Wilson, and also Jackson Dart, who wants to throw the ball down the field. Theo Johnson seems like a prototypical tight end. I want him to show why he was a priority pick for the New York Giants in year 2. Make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, @MarshallGreen_. Give me a follow over there. Hit that thumbs up icon on your way out, and let's go Giants.